to leave it open and see ROCCAT, how well do you play these Lulu compositions? If not, we'll just simply take it away. However, not this game because ROCCAT opened up with the Lulu ban, immediately followed up by Kalista. Origen. Yeah, that is Sivir. And Yasuo. Nukeduck is drawing 2 bans already in this series, so wise words coming out of Vander earlier saying, well, Nukeduck better than xPeke. It seems to be true, at least for the ban phase.
And Thresh blows. GP is down, banned
Gnar.
away in Game 3. I would like to mention that this is the same 3 bans that Origen did in Game 1. They first picked GP, and then they went to Elise Braum. For ROCCAT, they have banned Kalista in 3 games. Now, I obviously understand it on red side, but ROCCAT also banned Kalista when they were blue side. That is, of course, because GP was up, and that was one of the contests. But that could be one of the champions that could become free later in the series.
Yep.
But for now, Origen prioritized the shape-shifting spider in the jungle.
Early aggression here, ROCCAT. I like the steal on the Braum, forcing Mithy on another support, just less impact overall. Braum slowly shifting towards tier 1 pick and ban almost. If you look at the series that CLG played, a lot of value on that Braum pick too. I believe they first picked it on blue side once as well in that series, and it just shows just how much control you get from that champion, both aggressive and defensive. Engages are tricky, but eventually if you put people into a narrow corridor, you can land that Glacial Fissure, and just being able to prevent people from dealing damage for 3 seconds if they're launching projectiles, or as long as you last, if you drop dead before that, is just such a good trump card to have in these team fights.
So Nukeduck will get his hands onto that Viktor in conjunction with the Unbreakable Wall that Vander's put together. It is second most played champion here from Nukeduck. 6 games played now, 3 wins, 2 losses. We'll find out what the final result is. For Origen, I don't think you can get much safer than that. Corki for some wave clear, Thresh for some all-round utility.
I like it because it brings a generic wave clear utility AD carry that does well up until the late game, so early game is covered. You have pick potential coming out both your jungler and your support when you're playing with what Deficio called the best bot lane, or the best, sorry, support jungler combination in the West in terms of roaming, so there's pick potential there. This allows Origen to pick a couple more aggressive champions. I want to see Soaz on a playmaker, on an aggressive champion. I want to see xPeke on something that can split push, so that we can later on put Niels in the mid lane.
Soaz has a lot of options available to him. Hecarim is up, one of his most played throughout the split. Rumble available, but he's not gone back to it recently. We've seen him playing tanks. Soaz is really mixing up his champion pool.
Yep, as we expect of him.
As the summer has gone on, he's definitely one of the more well-rounded top laners. But he's up against Steve, who once again is going to have a counter-pick option on the red side. And Steve himself has kind of shown up in the regional qualifiers. I thought it was going to be a very different story against Soaz, but he held his own on that gangplank.
But it obviously helps if your mid laner can draw 2 bans, first pick his lane, and still get ahead in most of the laning matchups. Nukeduck's finally stepping up, becoming what many people expected of him. Overall, ROCCAT's first 4 picks, I completely agree with what they went for, and it just reminds me of LPL to an extent. These compositions that play well around these dragons, ROCCAT seems to like dragons. If they can force a fight, you know, pop on the hunt, engage, so much zone control coming out of Viktor. You have a get out of fail free card with the Braum, you know, jumping in front, putting up the wall, Glacial Fissure. Good amount of picks. Need to see what they complement this beautiful first 4 picks with. Hopefully not a Tryndamere. We'll have to see.
The Gnar was locked in for Soaz. It's only the second time, as well as that Varus mid lane, which was banned away previously. So not the most aggressive of champions we were looking for, but it will give poke, it will give mixed damage. And for Soaz, he actually went unkilled the last time he played Gnar, 6-0-7. Unfortunately for us, Steve will be locking in Maokai. It is a safe tank front line.
It's a safe pick. If only Steve was Darshan. Because a Yasuo top lane. Actually, no, it's banned. Never mind. I lied. Steve can't be Darshan. Maokai then, solid pick. We'll have to look at how well Steve can flank with teleport home guards on these fights. Origen are running a pretty typical 4-man siege, 1-man split push on the Gnar. We'll probably see some Black Cleaver shenanigans coming out of Soaz, trying to keep that Maokai in the side lane, preventing him from joining the team, putting pressure there. And then Origen have a really good, especially around the 15-20 minute mark, group up as 4, siege the hell out of this tower, take it down safely with Cocoon, with Hook to follow up, with Varus ultimate. Really hard to deal with unless you can get a flank or a hard engage. And ROCCAT have those tools available.
Well, game 5 of ROCCAT versus Unicorns of Love. In the quarterfinal was a Gnar for Steve against, sorry, other end, Maokai for Steve against the Gnar for Vizicachi. And that devolved into that split push battle. Gnar got ahead of Maokai with some early jungle pressure.
Yep.
We see Amazing playing Elise. Champion's going to have early jungle pressure. I think for this game to work for Origen, a lot of eyes are going to be focused on that top lane. Let's see whether or not ROCCAT have learned from the mistakes of their previous attempt in this matchup. There's the team comps on your screen. 1-1. ROCCAT showing they can hold Origen even. And we'll see whether or not they can get a lead in this series. First to 3 victories, advances to face Unicorns of Love and is one step closer to the 2015 World Championships. We're into Game 3. And for ROCCAT, they've already landed the first big blow.
I'm a big fan of the timing of these both compositions, of how they came to be. We're 1-1 into a series. We have 2 distinctly different compositions, both with different goals in mind, and ways to outplay each other. Origen, they can snowball early, get that 2v2 advantage in the top lane, snowballing Soaz, adding a split push component to their composition, whereas ROCCAT, they're just so good at stopping sieges. Run in, flank, home guards, teleport, something, catch. If you connect to xPeke, he's dead. If you connect to Niels, he's very likely dead. But neither have a distinct advantage over each other. It'll come down to how they play out the game, if they play to their strengths and hide, more importantly, mask their weaknesses.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
For both mid laners being low mobility, they run Flash Cleanse this time round. We did see ROCCAT's duo bottom. I say duo, we saw Vander bottom for a brief second before recalling and going top. So it looks like we're going to have a lane swap scenario. And I think there's a little less pressure on ROCCAT to find those low mobility mid laners with the point and click snare that Steve is going to bring.
Yeah, initiating the lane swap is the right idea here for ROCCAT. They definitely want to keep that Gnar down. If you can prevent his split push, then you're golden. Obviously, Gnar into Maokai should be a favorable matchup for the Gnar. This is why I think Origen is just simply predicting it. No deep wards on either side, and then it's a coin flip, and then you're better off predicting the lane swap than you are predicting that they predict the lane swap. We have to go deeper. But yeah, overall, Gromp gonna go down. They can still react. Now Vander is gonna invade. They get spotted. So Origen have more information right now. ROCCAT gonna equal out the information here, but they're face checking, taking some poke, but yeah, not much gonna happen. Even game.
Yeah, a couple autos each direction. I think Gauntlet, nothing lost. We did see Mithy this time around starting with the coin on the Thresh.
I lied. Not an even game because what Soaz and Amazing did was they moved to the bottom side of the map. They also predicted lane swap, so a lot of eggs in the lane swap basket here for Origen. Early flay trade, Phosphorus Bomb, obviously no spell shield available, good. Soaz leash, so he went to the lane early. Steve had to help continue the double jungle that they initiated because he was on the other side of the map. He will lose his teleport, so teleport advantage early for Soaz at the cost of some potential experience, but not all too much.
See if Jankos can keep that in mind, because if any action plays out, Soaz could join. We do see Amazing hovering around the mid lane as we see Pekka and Nukeduck going toe-to-toe.
Now I wonder if Amazing is going to go for the adaptation and counter jungle Jankos, since Soaz should be pushing bot lane because he had control over that minion wave earlier. Could be the adaptation, but looks like Amazing is staying safe. So we're not going to have that early pressure on that Maokai that we possibly expected. We know that Jankos and Steve started in the top lane, that's why he teleported, else he would have walked to lane. Origen should know that as well. That means Soaz will have to be careful around the level 3 mark for ganks.
Well, talking about ganks, Amazing is going to make his way mid lane. Flash and Cleanse is available. Flash used by Nukeduck. Peke and Amazing double team to get that summoner.
Alright, first gank from Amazing. Now Jankos has to give the rebuttal. Can he force something? Picks up his blue buff right now. He's going to head down to bot lane. That ward, you have to expect that. So Jankos should go over to the Dragon Wall or gank back in the mid lane. But look, Soaz is respecting it. He's not even getting close to the wave, and Steve is pushing it in. So good wave management from Soaz allows him to dodge any potential ganks.
See if he can keep it up. Even on CS with Steve. Steve on that first back with a little bit of jungle help picked up 5 wards, 5 potions.
Yeah, good game read here by xPeke. He says, well, Jankos is probably trying to get Soaz. If he can't, he's probably coming to my right side. Warded out, information received, and now they know exactly what Jankos was doing before, and more importantly, what he's going to do next. Amazing is now a step ahead. He's entering the empty jungle, unseen. Might be looking for a Flash Cocoon here.
Fnatic tried this move against Origen in the finals. The gank from the Raptor camp. when your opponents were on red side. Steve, with the help of the crab, is going to come up to the river.
See, they pinged out the ward. This is what Nukeduck did. It says, okay, don't pass that ward. This is the path you have to take. Steve is out of vision. xPeke knows that his river is empty. That's why he's leaning to the left side. Mid laners will always, or generically speaking, lean towards the side their jungler is on. That can be a tell. You can obviously use that to your advantage to mind game the opponent, but it's risky.
The Oscar, will it be awarded to a member of ROCCAT? No,
nope.
Because Steve is backed away. Jankos is going to show middle, but Amazing is still hanging around that part of the map. Dead sentence onto Vander, a lot of damage gets blocked out as Amazing connects with the Cocoon and the Volatile Spiderling, forcing Jankos out of his own jungle.
So you see how absolutely nothing happened up until this point? Both teams were trying to read each other, and just getting into their minds is such a very interesting topic. Amazing knew what could happen there. xPeke realized that his right flank was under pressure, so he leaned to the left side. He knows eventually Jankos has to stop jungling on the right side of the map. Eventually, Jankos has to get to the left side, and then he gets punished. And then this allows Amazing to zone out Jankos out of his right side jungle, and then Amazing can move to the top lane. Pressure this lane has been pushed in. Shield is down. Vander's gonna get not flayed.
No, not this time either. Mithy missed a headbutt pulverized in the previous game, missed a flay this game. Just a few skill shots. If it's an important one, it could be problematic. Piercing arrow comes out, Nukeduck's got 200 HP, but there's no chain of corruption or mana for Peke to deal with.
And when the enemy mid laner is this low, you can simply just show your jungle. You don't have to like hide your hand anymore. You just simply push in this wave, and you get the momentum. So for the first time, we have the winning mid lane matchup in this series. Also, because there was no level 1 shenanigans, the bot lane 2v2, now in the top lane, is winning for Origen. And you see how much easier the game gets for them when they have 2 winning lanes and one that is neutral, one time pushing, one time back, depending on the way the waves evolve.
The previous game was defined, really, by those early pushing lanes in favor of ROCCAT. For Origen, they now have those tools to play with. Soaz back, picked himself up a Doran's and a Ruby Crystal, and the teleport advantage has now been nullified as Steve will have access to his TP shortly. Peke with the back, little bit of an experience lead. Gets a tier and that long sword, so going to be stacking it for a little while.
Actually, interesting that Mithy went for coin. Usually, any Thresh lane wants to get Relic for sustain on your AD carry. They're just so comfortable that they can play this matchup. Outplay and outflay MrRallez here. Spell goes down.
Let's find out. Lantern is available for Niels. Summon a heal. Not in fact used. Now it does. That was a flash forward from Vander.
Not worth.
Stand behind me to get out. Trading both of those just for heal.
Yeah. A little overzealous from Vander, but yeah, not playing Relic just says, well, we're comfortable in dodging 2 skill shot based lanes here. Well, because unlike Alistar, Thresh doesn't get any value for his AD carry from that coin. He gets more mana regen, which gives you more flays and hooks overall, but you can't heal. Coin won't translate any healing, so that means Niels only has his 1 potion for sustain in this matchup. Enough about that. Jankos is going for another gank from the right side, but again spotted by xPeke. Some really good warding overall from Origen, because it's hard to track the jungle and make him reveal himself this often with only this few wards. So really good game reads.
And it's the 3rd game of a series, so Origen now adapting to what ROCCAT showed in their series yesterday and their games today. And Soaz, again, looking to build an advantage. He's going up against that Warden's Mail with really not a whole lot of damage, but still able to chunk him out a little with that Hyper. And again, this is sort of adaptation and game plan. Amazing.
Oh, I love this
for a dive. Mithy's here as well.
First base on the bot lane from Origen means they can move down to the bottom. They can tag team, like in the Wrestling League when Soaz, you know, you're out, we're in. Put pressure on Steve, and then Soaz can comfortably base, make the first move to the top lane. If Steve wasn't ready for this, he could have gotten dove. The game could have been over here. Good beat though from ROCCAT. They've honestly gotten better at reading the game and adapting earlier, as we said as well, where ROCCAT went to bot lane, decided, nope, can't go here. Go all the way back to the top lane. So definitely a better understanding from ROCCAT as a whole, shot calling wise in the early game, and it's showing.
We need to see how much prep can I put in. If he's going to connect with the death sentence, there's a lot of people who can reply though. It'll be Peke that's going to take a ride on that dark passage. Chain of Corruption comes out, there's held Vander in place, but Jankos with a 2-man body slam. He's pushed Origen away. First blood secured by Jankos. Peke's out. He gets Chaos Storm to death. ROCCAT respond and get 2 kills.
Vander with the taunt. You didn't realize once he gets hooked, he stood still and laughed for a good 2 or 2 seconds because he knew his team could back him up. Soaz' teleport, yeah, just didn't quite connect, didn't hit the mark. He cancelled it as well, and ROCCAT make 2 picks. And yeah, this is what you have to be afraid of when you're playing a support jungler combination. Go in, you You need to make sure that if you make a pick, you make it count. You have to blow up that initial target because backup is always closer if you're invading into the enemy jungler.
Backup means ROCCAT get their first dragon of the game. They've got 2 kills. One of them onto Nukeduck, the man that was pressured in the mid lane. One of them onto Jankos.
It did cost Siv some presence in his lane. He had to walk down there. He still has teleport available. You can see what ROCCAT's intentions with this game are. Steve is not playing for the laning phase. He could have teleported top and saved himself some time, got more CS, but instead he wants to keep it for another one of those situations. They really want to punish Origen for overextending, teleporting behind them and catching them out. Origen playing a composition that just wants to keep ROCCAT at bay, poke them from afar, and then commit to taking down these structures and objectives.
We'll see if the gameplay style can be executed. But for Origen, maybe biting off more than they could actually chew. See how much it hurts them. Pekka's going to get his hands on this blue buff. But as it stands, ROCCAT again, just showing growth, showing development. And honestly, they're impressing me. I did not expect this level coming out of ROCCAT in the series.
ROCCAT playing a lot better than many people, myself included, expected. Origen, slightly lacking. Dropped the ball a bit in Champs League Game 1, dropped the ball a lot Champs League Game 2. This time, they have a composition, but the strengths and weaknesses of this composition are easily identifiable overall, and ROCCAT doing a good job playing around it. However, still only at the 10-minute mark,
yeah,
11 minute. We have to wait. Siege compositions scale up slowly, so by no means are Origen out of this game. I mean, we're 200 gold apart. We're painting the picture. ROCCAT, they've won this series. Congratulations. They're going to Worlds. No, not quite yet.
We'll see if they can handle themselves. But yes, as you mentioned, Krepo, it is 200 gold difference. Soaz is going to get caught by the barrel. The cocoon goes wide. And thanks to the cocoon not connecting, big smile on Yamato Cannon's face. ROCCAT get their 3rd kill. Death Sentence connects onto Vander as we see the Lantern pulling Niels to safety. The lanes have now reset to what we consider normal. Duos down bottom, tops up top, but it seems to be all about ROCCAT.
Steve and Jankos showing Soaz what it feels to be a ping pong ball. He got knocked around, smacked around, didn't get to Mega Gnar there. Good gank, good opening, and that's worrisome when Steve and Jankos as a jungler top lane duo can do that to the enemy top laner. This is slowly nullifying the split push advantage that Soaz will have later on in the series, and that this could be big for ROCCAT.
It's going to have to be big. Because like I mentioned, this is a matchup that ROCCAT have lost with before, and it's one that we've seen not only in this these two teams, but multiple times. Gnar into Maokai. Black Cleaver will be the first item secured here for Soaz. He's got himself a 10 CS advantage over Steve. We're waiting for that mana mute to be completed for Peke, and your traditional Sheen first build here from Corki is he's dealing with the BF sword of MrRallez.
All right, where do these teams go from here? What does Origen want to achieve? Obviously, they still want to have that advantage in the top lane. 1v1, Soaz can still bully around Steve. You see that in the pacing around the lane. So that's control in the top lane for Origen. That means they somehow have to find an opening to push out either mid, rotate, migrate to bottom and siege, or bot and rotate into mid.
Well, the Gnar didn't connect, but the wallop does. We're going to quickly
gets knocked
jump
in
to
mid.
Peke gets hit. He goes down. Body slam secures the kill. Did Steve go down up top? No, but it will be a tower for Origen.
Now, will Origen lose their tower in the mid lane? That's what we need to look at. But Jankos, so far 3-0 and 1. The first blood king. He was called previously in a different ROCCAT, different time. So he's leaving his mark. He gave away, or ROCCAT as a team gave away, the most aggressive early game jungler Elise that people are so afraid of. He said, I'm fine, I can squash that spider, let me get Gragas, just put my belly on top of it. And he's doing that, 3-0-1, and he's out jungling. Amazing to an extent, or he's just out ganking him. That's either amazing dropping the ball, or Origen members just getting put down in lane too much that they facilitate those ganks. TLDR, Jankos is winning.
Yesterday, in the post-game interview with Jankos about this matchup, specifically said that Amazing is a very good jungler. And I got the distinct impression that Jankos had been studying Amazing, or at least watching his games very intently. Because he was saying how Amazing has these tendencies and these priorities. This game, Jankos is showing that he can definitely read Amazing and play with the best of him, or at least play around him. Play where he's not.
The way this series is playing out, I think we might see a Braum ban or first pick in the next game coming out. Vander just comfortably controlling this lane. Every time Hook comes out, he just puts out shield. It's like, yeah, you can hook me. I'll take 0 damage. My AD carry is protected. You'll never burst me down, which means the follow-up trade will be in our favor. It's just why Braum is such a good pick. Mithy will need to be freed up and roam. He's not doing what he does best, which is group up with amazing and make picks. Thresh Elise is fantastic at making picks. Trying to play and create openings in a Sivir lane, it's not going to get you anywhere. Origen need to find a way to group in the mid lane, but they can't really out-siege Nukeduck because he has so much wave clear. There's no way to stop that laser. That means Peke should actually be able to push out Nukeduck somehow and get to mid, but he can't do that because he's behind in the lane. So Origen is stuck, leaving all the plays to be made at ROCCAT side.
15 minutes has just ticked over. Amazing picked up his second red buff. We'll start moving. Did you see Amazing in the river? Jankos was stuck about, but Amazing's going to come in. Death Sentence connects on Vander. The box follows as well. Niels is off to the side of the Unbreakable, so the shield's not going to do a lot. Vander's going to be able to get out, but here comes Jankos. Moves in from the river. Only Ignite was the summoner spell blown, and they got a heal in return.
Good gank timing by Amazing, but lacking in execution. Vander managed to survive with his flash still up. So we were talking about how Origen is locked down on the bottom side of the map. This could give an opening here to siege a tower. Jankos is looking to go aggressive. Meanwhile, top lane's winning too.
Let's take a look.
Gets knocked in.
Explosive cast onto Amazing. He repels up, drops down, and takes the lantern.
Oh, here's Viktor.
Going to Valk away, but here's Steve as well. He's teleported into the river. He's caught Mithy. Nukeduck's got the kill. Gravity Field holds Niels in place as the Chaos Storm takes him out. Soaz, you're late and you're little. You need Mega Gnar for that TP to work. ROCCAT get 2 and maybe another tower.
And this is exactly what ROCCAT want to achieve in this game and what Origen so desperately want to avoid. They want to keep Soaz 1v1 against the Maokai. Because in terms of teleport, flanks, openings, team fights, Maokai just is adding so much more because Soaz is having a way harder time catching squishy members on the ROCCAT side compared to Steve. He's always finding these flanks, and yeah, props to ROCCAT as a team, vision control-wise and coordination-wise to make that happen.
100% kill participation by Jankos. Hang on. Soaz looking for MrRallez, and he gets him. Wow, Soaz now going to try and make it out. I don't know if he can get away from Altiga Braum. Drop the hammer down. He's going to crunch and wallop. Here comes Amazing and Mithy. Vander's going to make it out, but Vander's got something to prove.
Vander held onto his Ignite long enough to bait Soaz into actually believing that he could kill him. Soaz jumped in, wanted to stun Vander, then Lantern would come in, deny another auto attack, and just buy enough time for everybody to follow up. Vander says, nope, I have an Ignite, you're dead. I'm gonna walk away. Good play here. Origen attempting cheeky dragon, 3 against 2.
Yeah, but
can they stop it?
ROCCAT coming in, so tower will be secured. Origen actually have all 3 outer towers secured. That is impressive, considering they're down 6 kills. ROCCAT grouped themselves up north of the Dragon Pit. 2,000 hit points on Dragon. There is a smite nearby, and Vander's come to join. Death Sentence goes wide. Dragon has reset and is regenning. Origen are going to back away.
Steve is pushing in top lane. He's just going to walk all the way down. Dragon prepped. Even though this was 4v5, ROCCAT end up with the Dragon, and I think what you said right there describes the series and both compositions. The goal is even. But ROCCAT are down 2 towers against the siege composition, which is great at taking towers. Even if you leave the lane to roam, you lose your tower eventually. But ROCCAT is up in kills because they have this skirmish composition that just wants a team fight. Steve now flanking mid. Okay.
Oh wait, that's going to be in trouble. Cleanse, flash away. Lozok's chiming in as well as ROCCAT are going to get themselves a kill onto Mithy. Peke wants to try reply. Turret aggro on Steve. The kill goes to Niels. Assist to Peke. ROCCAT will get themselves a middle tower. Piercing arrow comes out as Amazing tries to look for more support for top lane, but ROCCAT get the tower.
Not quite sure if Steve really had to flash there. We see Soaz flanking. He's going to find Jankos. No body slam available. No flash. He should be dead.
There is a Mega Gnar. Jankos will go down. Cocoon connects. Soaz
shut down.
He's going to get himself some bonus gold. And now Origen with their siege composition gets some tower down on the inner turret.
Bold move by ROCCAT. I think the flank is good, but at this point, I think it's better showing your hand, saying, we are flanking you, please step away, let's take the tower, than actually committing to the dive. What Steve did there was overzealous. He flashed point blank, even though he was already in W range, on xPeke. xPeke cleanse flashed out, and then that Varus ultimate just spreads under the tower and so much damage. Now Vander has to leap out. This is what Origen wanted to do. Siege up, poke out, get control. Don't get flanked by Steve.
There comes Steve from the front door. His teleport's down, his flash is down. was able to start that engage previously. And Origen are keeping this game relevant. They are even in gold. Despite the items and kills going the way of ROCCAT somewhat. Black Cleaver for Soaz. Picked himself up a Giant's Belt. We've seen Brutalizer and Manamune for Peke. Slowly getting up there.
Steve?
That tower's just...
Yeah, that tower is, we can neglect it. It should be down, but overall, the game is even. Steve needs to get home guards though. It doesn't matter what you build if you're going to lose 1v1 anyways, you need home guards to be able to flank. That way, when next time you teleport, you don't have to flash for an extra half a Teemo distance. If you're afraid that Peke is going to flash, you can simply walk up to him, knock him up, and then Twisted Advance on top of him. It's no point itemizing much further than this without home guards. Hopefully, he's going to pick that up right now. Prove me right.
Let's see. Steve is going to start recalling, and the item he wants to complete will be...
Trinket upgrade? I'll take it. Steve is a
slow
purchaser. He's a window shopper.
Props to the observers for playing with us on that one. It looks like it will just be the Trinket upgrade and Merc.
Might be out of money.
Okay.
So not
we'll
mana.
forgive him
Money.
now. We'll forgive him
He is.
now.
See, these observers, they tell the tale.
Oh, it's so good. Thank you so much, guys. So we get back to this middle lane where the tower remains for a few seconds longer, but we do see ROCCAT grouping themselves up for around the top half of the map. That's the last outer turret, assuming that mid one falls soon.
Now, longer lanes play in favor for Origen, because now this time they do have the wave clear. They can push up one lane, group on the next one, siege these towers down, threaten the engage, Cocoon, Hook, and Varus ultimate. 3 abilities. One needs to connect, and they facilitate the others. If you land Cocoon, it's not going to be that hard to land a Hook. And vice versa. Nukeduck dodges out, Jankos gets caught. Poke siege, this is what you do over and over, and deny ROCCAT a flank. Keep your eyes on Steve, don't let him teleport behind you.
Soaz continues to push out that bottom lane. Again, looking for that 1v1 with Steve, he will find it. Gets Mega Gnar. That's a big timing window, and you can see Origen have immediately started to back away from the jungle of ROCCAT. Try to hold on to that global gold from the middle turret just as long as possible, but I feel it should drop soon. ROCCAT are just going to face tank this.
ROCCAT grouping up, 4-man composition. They want to use On the Hunt to make a pick here. It's bold.
Well,
not quite worth it. xPeke is showing just how much he really cares about towers. That might be his weakness. Once you find your foe's weakness, you can exploit it.
Luckily for ROCCAT, exploiting the weakness of tower love is how you win this game. So he's going to continue trading with Steve. Black Cleaver trying to shred through that armor as he goes Mega. Or backing away, but while Soaz is keeping Steve locked up, it allows the rest of Origen to roam. It allows the rest of Origen to get some deep wards down to put some more pressure on the top half of the map.
Yeah, Origen need to consider this game to be played 4v4 and hopefully neutralize and avoid Steve's teleports. That's the name of the game. And then you have different approaches. ROCCAT kind of want to group up immediately, make a pick, on the hunt engage, body slam flash, get some squishy down. Either it's xPeke or Niels. Origen obviously want to avoid that by simply manipulating the waves. Say, okay, let's send one ROCCAT member to the top lane to deal with this slow push, then 4 members against 3 in the mid lane, poke them out, get a tower. Eventually, if ROCCAT go too far backwards, which they have a tendency of doing traditionally speaking, then Origen can change their gaze towards the Baron pit, let Soaz teleport in, maybe get that, and finally make that sieging so much easier. We've talked about this before, Baron buff is fantastic against and for siege compositions.
And for Origen, more importantly in the previous game, they have now more options.
Yeah.
The team composition allows them a little bit more versatility in the decision making. We did quickly see Nukeduck with that Luden's Echo, somewhat movement speed build, really chunking down Origen, but very different to what we saw from Peke's build a moment ago.
And this time ROCCAT is the team with only 2 carries. Viktor and Sivir should provide you enough mixed damage sources for late game damage in team fights. You have enough CC as well, and Origen don't really have ways or means to deny damage to ROCCAT. They don't have the wind wall to block the lasers, the unbreakable to deny the projectiles that ROCCAT do have. Hang on, Steve flanking, goes on Mithy.
ROCCAT has a Steve. xPeke continues to get to the back line. Chain of Corruption is out. Explosive Cost splits them up. Mithy's in trouble. Soaz does not have Mega Gnar available. He needs a few more seconds to charge. Origen have lost their support, but it's ROCCAT that are backing away.
They're in a choke point. They can't enter back to this way. Even though they lost the support, Origen are in a favorable position because they control poke so well in terms of choke points. You have to come from multiple angles, which is what ROCCAT did, but then you need to kill somebody else than the support. And that explosive cask from Jankos actually ended up saving, I believe it was xPeke from the Glacial Fissure. If you use all your tools and your catches to kill Mithy, he's obviously going to go down smiling because Origen take down the Dragon, setting up for a push in the mid.
Very important Dragon as well. Going to deny number 3 from ROCCAT. Wave clear from Nukeduck and MrRallez. That's going to be called into question. Niels very far forward. He valks east away from his team. But Steve, he's teleported in. Peke is low. No flash, no cleanse. Peke continues to run away. He's stunned. MrRallez flash forward to get that kill as Niels will be the next focus from ROCCAT. MrRallez will get taken out though. It is going to be a trade. Niels follows shortly thereafter. Now Vander's in retreat. Amazing. Again misses a cocoon. It's the second or third this game. Vander goes down. It's a messy team fight. Everybody's dying everywhere. Soaz gonna go Mega Gnar. Gonna keep trading with Steve, and what started as a 1v1 will continue as a 1v1. The crunch doesn't connect, but the Mega Gnar does. And there goes Steve shortly after. One more house goes out, and if he's low, actually killed by Steve. We're still not...
Steve!
Save Steve!
I was gonna start this analysis of this fight by criticizing Steve, but now I'm just not to anymore. So that was perfect. Aside from when Steve is flanking, I would like to see him just use Q first and then Twisted Advance. Maybe we can see it right here. Keep your eyes. Where does Steve come from? All the way to the bottom right of your minimap behind. Good force. This is why the ROCCAT lineup is going aggressively. They zone out Niels to the side, so he Twisted Advance on xPeke, who's in front of him. That puts his knockback actually aiding xPeke. He should play goalkeeper. Stand in front of xPeke, and then when xPeke actually jumps behind you, Twisted Advance. That's the only mistake I can fault Steve here in this fight. Works well with Vander here. Eventually Vander's holding his Q. Gorgeous Cocoon gets the passive on Amazing, allows for 4 damage proc. He goes down, and then yeah, we know what happens here. Just gonna speed up, and Steve will eventually survive. Good use of ultimate. Thank you, Observers, saving us all some time. Yeah, Jankos comes in. He based, healed up, shopped a little bit. Eventually comes back. The spellbomb from Steve. At this point, I don't even know if it's word for Thresh to use Flay, because it gives you an extra stack for the Maokai passive, and that lifesteal that's sustained.
Unbelievable. Yep, I'm going to borrow one of your lines. That team fight might be what Tilt is made of for the Origen lineup. Team that was so heavily favored to not only win the series, but win the 3rd place seed to Worlds. And they are down 2,000 gold. They are down 8 kills to ROCCAT, and this might be more. Team fight started. MrRallez is on the hunt, and Steve, he's found more. Soaz again. Oh, with the mini Gnar, not going to be able to find the ultimate, but ROCCAT forced too deep and don't find the kills they're looking for.
Yeah, but they're zoned off the mid lane here. Nukeduck's gonna even add some additional zone to that. Tower's open. I just want to say props, yeah, for ROCCAT for realizing that they have to group. Such a satisfying moment. When you see your Maokai fly into the enemy team following the lantern, that's when you know you're likely to win the team fight. Good control, not over-chasing by ROCCAT, and overall, MrRallez has been positioning fantastically in this fight as well. This is why he was added to the roster. In the last fight, where he had the crazy Steve shenanigans, he actually flashed aggressively to take out a couple of members of Origen. They're playing on a limited damage source composition with only 2 main carries in Nukeduck and MrRallez, but they're playing incredibly well in this series.
They certainly are, Krepo, and those home guards were picked up by Steve. 2, 1, and 8. Involved in 10 of his team's 13 kills. MrRallez got that Infinity Edge, got that Shiv, working towards the last Whisper as well. So there's not a lot of armor to deal with. He's actually going to hurt Origen's roster a lot.
And the good thing for this ROCCAT lineup is if they can ever force Origen into a choke point or flank them, keep them still somewhere, doesn't even matter who you hit because the damage will spread. Boomerang will be AoE, bouncing Blades from Ricochet will be AoE. Nukeduck finished his Luden's Echo earlier too, because so if one laser connects, that suddenly goes to everybody in the team. So Origen, at all costs, want to avoid being bunched up. They want to keep all the information in front of them, which is SiegeComp wants to do, but ROCCAT are finding openings constantly, flanks, and punishing Origen for overreaching.
It also helps when you have those deep wards. Yes, not a lot of vision in ROCCAT's jungle, but if Origen retreat from anything, Steve will have teleport options available to him.
Baron started.
TP is almost available here for Steve and Origen. They're rushing this one down, Krepo. ROCCAT, they're running in from the jungle. Baron's down to a 3rd. I think Origen have got this. Chain of Corruption goes out, it's spreading. Baron's low. Who's going to get it? It's blue team. Origen that secures it. Glacial Fissure not used just yet. Actually, it was thrown down in the background. So is this Mega Gnar as he's dropped and killed. Steve is sitting on the front line. This is the information Origen want to work with. They trade 1 for Baron.
That was a good call by Origen. They knew, I believe, Scrying Orb was used. This is why Jankos wasn't committing for that ward over the wall. That's why the hook missed. And they know they're out-rotated. They need to at least start Baron right there to force ROCCAT to come face check, but ROCCAT didn't face check until it was too late. Good reaction and good shot calling. That is a really hard call to make. Do we finish the Baron or do we peel off? They make the right call. Good smite executed by Amazing too. Could have been stolen by Jankos, who actually went for the fight instead. And then yeah, they sacrificed top laner for the Baron. And now Origen have the pressure. They cancel Vander here. Lantern, Flash Flay, or Hook Flay rather.
He's gonna get taken out as well. Mithy,
this is big.
Something to say. Another kill and Baron on 4. There's a lot of time to play. Dragon's up in 20 seconds.
Yeah, Unbreakable is down, so nobody can block these skill shots anymore. They can push the waves with added health or added resistances on these minions. So hard to wave clear for Nukeduck right now. Only MrRallez' wave clear counts right now since it's physical damage, but it's 5 against 4. And not even Steve's flanks can save ROCCAT right now.
Teleport is available. There's a lot of wards behind Origen. Let's see if and when a flank happens. Origen, they're grouped up. They've got their entire team in this middle lane.
Steve should just base. Him being in vision for Origen actually allows them to push more aggressively than they would if Steve would be on the fountain. Because the looming threat of a teleport with home guards is actually a bigger mental impact than when you actually see the Maokai in front of you. All you can do is flash W. If you respect that zone, you're fine.
And you said, Origen's comp, they want the information to work with. They want the people in front of them so that Niels and xPeke have got targets to shoot. It's Jankos that is in fact going to return to the fountain. We do see Steve recalling, but Dragon number 2 will get secured by Origen. And this will give them touching distance to the gold lead that ROCCAT have built up. 1,000 separates these teams.
Origen playing at the side of the map that ROCCAT haven't populated in a very long time. Ergo, no deep wars, no flank potential. Steve can arrive at the side, but he'll walk in vision at least. So again, Origen will know what's going on. If they know what's going on, they can react accordingly.
So as his Mega Gnar just timed, so he's going to be tired for a little while. A little onesie needs to cool off before he can transform once more.
Watch Steve, he's flanking on the left.
Mega Cannon minions are up. Jankos holds on to his explosive cask. Steve is still hanging around. Chain of Corruption was used, as was on the hunt. MrRallez running around really, really quickly. That Sonic doesn't help you to do anything other than defend that tower.
Yeah, that's a satisfying feeling when you hear that on the hunt screen, and in the next 2 seconds nobody dies. That's when you know you just forced like an error. Side of ROCCAT. Blue buff goes down.
I thought it was stolen.
Soaz is fighting Jankos though.
Jankos might be in trouble.
Oh, who connects?
Connects. Look at ROCCAT. They've responded. Righteous Glory's popped as well. Steve's looking for more. Older throw from Soaz will at least dissuade that engage. Origen's Baron time is slowly wearing out. But look, all of the time in the bottom lane has let that slow push up top allow Origen some breathing room.
And again, they can rotate around these lanes. However, they're going to choose to just base. Slow up. They must have a decent amount of gold in their pockets right now, so they're going to base some more items and yeah, pick up more ability. Talisman of Ascension is crucial as a pickup against Sivir matchups because it allows you to move quicker backwards. And that is something you need to match on the hunt at least. You know, the distance goes forward. Obviously, Steve can speed up his entire team still for a secondary burst, but he's the one that kind of wants to flank. So if he's near his team, you're kind of happy with that overall speaking as well. So Origen just at all costs need to avoid getting caught.
Find out if they can avoid getting caught because Steve does have TP, does have Flash, does have Home Guard. Also finished off that Thornmail. Luckily for them, Soaz is going to be the frontline for Origen. Also just wrapped up his Randian's Omen.
Yeah.
So
that Thornmail actually prompts a discussion we haven't had this game so far, which is how heavily Origen's composition is spec'd into the 80 damage field. Elise does a good amount of magic damage, but she's tank heavy. Niels' damage from poke will fall off later on magic damage wise. So again, it allows Steve to itemize so efficiently 1v1 to the point where Soaz's armor penetration falls off too, because there's simply too much armor. So as this game goes late, yes, ROCCAT only have 2 carries, but their damage is spread evenly, which should be able to match Origen's very, very one-dimensional damage output.
And you also have to deal with all the bonus stats that Braum's going to give you, and the fact that MrRallez damage gets amplified by that Zeke's Harbinger as well.
Whereas Mithy built an Aegis after his Talisman, so too many necessary items to build on the side of Origen. Mixed damage output definitely prompts an Aegis. You could even argue that ROCCAT could use an Aegis, but you could also argue that Zeke's is just more important to finish, and that straight up tankiness on Jankos is acceptable.
Krepo, I think every team comp needs an Aegis.
Almost, yeah.
No, I think everyone does.
Well, this is why you're wrong.
Well, it's fine. I'm willing to accept that from you, but...
Actually, unless he goes into a banner, because banner is love.
I think it probably will be banner for Mithy. He was one of the most prolific banner...
Well, it has to be banner. Actually, I lied, actually. Going back, let's find out if Vander dies and then get back to this point.
The answer to that question is no, and back to the point.
Because Elise finished the locket. So miscommunication. Zeke's Harbinger could have been bought on Mithy, but then he would end up being too squishy. So it's a bit of a catch-22. You want that item for your AD carry, but at the same time, you also want to live long enough to use it.
Everybody does. Wants to live long enough to use it. Origen have managed to live in this game long enough to even out all of the advantages that ROCCAT built up. Now Origen are ahead in towers.
Yep.
Despite being down a little bit in gold, down in kills, despite being down so early on, Origen's Baron play pretty much single-handedly brought them right back into this game.
And Soaz split pushing, finally opening up another tower here. ROCCAT finding it difficult to deal with all this pressure from Origen, and they're just gonna go back to what worked in the past. We stalled the game, eventually we found good vision control, led us to getting a Baron and a couple of dragons. Yeah, let's not overreach and do that again. That is what Origen is thinking. So you'll see a lot of communication coming out of a Mithy and Amazing here. That duo really needs to carry the shot calling in the mid game here for Origen.
Good enough to keep them in it. All three games have been fairly competitive.
Yep.
This series. Closer than I was expecting. I'll stop saying that as we're in game 3 of 5. I'm probably going to go all the way. But for Origen, Baron number 2 has now spawned.
ROCCAT has the vision control though, and more importantly, they have the Scuttle Crab. Even if you get complete control of an area, you can't get rid of the Scuttle Crab. I actually love if you could stand on top of it and make it decay faster. Just have 5 people stand there and just squash that bug back up. Sadly, you can't. So good control. So ROCCAT, they just bought themselves some time. They have really good deep wards. Look behind Origen, a wealth of wards. So if Steve pushes this out, he slow push bot. There's nobody to be seen in the bot lane. He's gonna base, and he might actually be looking to pull the trigger right here. Crucial couple 30 seconds coming in.
We have to keep our eyes on that mini-map to see what
as he pushes out.
When Steve does get back to the fountain, because once those home guards are active, the option is available. Again, we have to give kudos to ROCCAT. Their team comp and their reliance on Steve's flanks has been facilitated all game long by their deep vision.
See, I don't like what Steve is doing here. I think he could have left that lane slow pushing to match the timing for ROCCAT to then clear the vision. If Origen contests, he can get behind the enemy team. Right now, he's fast pushing the wave and handing it off to Soaz. If he's not in base already, he can't force that play. He's giving away too much information. ROCCAT doing that because they want the dragon. But it gives Origen, again, time. It removes one window of opportunity for ROCCAT. Not sure if it's worth it. We'll have to see if it pays off in the end. Third dragon, though, movement speed bonuses come out. Could be crucial.
Yeah, very important for ROCCAT, who wants to run Origen down, especially when you add the impact of the Gragas, the Maokai, the Sivir.
Because look what Origen's doing. Well, you take something bottom right, we will take your entire top left. Deep vision, in addition to double pink ward. For a siege composition that can defend an objective, this is what they want. ROCCAT's response will likely be to rush down the mid lane, but they kind of want to check Baron too. Face check.
Jankos is eating every death sentence. Glacial Fissure comes up. Vander is slowed down. Niels is already killed. Defensive flash and claims on a giant tree with Home Guard. Finds Peke. Steve gets the kill.
Zero hesitation on the side of ROCCAT, which was what they had to do because they knew their flank on the other side was covered by Steve. He comes in with the Home Guards. And yeah, Origen were not ready for this. Niels just got exploded. Flash, Glacial Fissure came out. Now it's 3v5. This is grim.
It is grim, and the team fight has started. Mithy puts the box out. Origen, they're split in 3. Soaz hops away. He gets a stun down before he's forced to retreat. A flash over the wall will keep him alive. The sapling unable to run him down. Mithy is going to get killed. The Origen are just trying to delay the Baron. I don't think it will be enough. Amazing's Elise is shoving out the middle lane. He's got vision to play with, but not much else. The second Baron of this game, most likely going to ROCCAT. Unless Amazing can do something incredible.
Yeah, there was a good chance that in that fight, in that face hug, xPeke was saying, screw that, he's just too tanky. In that 80 damage-based composition, just not getting through Jankos quick enough, and then, yeah, they pulled the trigger. Body slam, flash Glacial Fissure. If you catch one of them, it's over. Too little damage later, especially since Soaz wasn't there yet. Late reaction on the teleport. Didn't punish with the face check, and this is big for ROCCAT. It's maybe what they need to take this game to an unexpected 2-1 lead.
That's the way it's looking. Origen have got themselves that Baron buff as we are well into the late game. 40 minutes in, 66,000 gold built up for ROCCAT. They've now regained the lead that they earned much earlier in the game. Origen only 61k. We're going to see how effectively they can use this Baron-empowered minions to deal with the wave clear that Origen have available to them.
Pushing in now, ROCCAT in the mid lane. Keep your eye on Steve. Obviously, can't flank once they're in the base. Connecting with Mithy.
That is
Thresh
a
Express.
long distance, Glacial Fisher. Vander's going to follow Steve through. Steve may actually go down here. Maybe over-ambitious or unexpecting the distance.
So as is flanking.
Not amazing though. Niels gets knocked into the team. MrRallez finds another crit. Double kill. Only one damage dealer left, and Peke will deal that damage. He finds Vander, but for ROCCAT, RALZ and Nukeduck, they are still committed to this objective. Soaz, no flash available, but he does have Gnar. We did see a very quick cleanse from Nukeduck as the Chaos Storm burns through Mithy. Just as a side note, Nukeduck has got 975 ability power. That's why he melted Mithy so quickly, and they get their inhib and they get out.
Nukeduck took that hook like a man, evaporated the support. That's the worst feeling. Like, guys, I got him. Oh, yes, cleanse. Oh, yes, damn. Oh, yeah, that's Viktor. Okay, I'm dead. But overall, Niels' Valkyrie was optimistic. An homage, perhaps, to the former ROCCAT AD carry, but let's watch that again. So this is the problem with the Thresh Express. You follow all the way, you get played back, and now you're running to the poke. Varus ult is obviously going to spread. You can disengage from the Glacial Fisher because there's no threat on your backline, but still 1 for 1. Okay, Niels getting some damage down here. Vander gets hooked, but it's just a support. Oh no, he got knocked in. Okay, I lied. I was blind. It was beautiful casket there from Jankos. It looked like a Valkyrie inwards, but it wasn't. Take back everything I said. Good punish by ROCCAT overall there. Almost worked out for Origen here, but just wasn't enough.
And I've got a question for our analyst desk to answer. Talking about the Jankos versus Amazing matchup. Jankos picked up first blood with a great explosive cast. Another one there onto Niels. Lantern comes out. Jankos looking for more, but look at the Chaos Storm. Destroying Origen's hit points. ROCCAT are going to be happy to force them away. Super's in the middle lane, and ROCCAT going down bottom.
This is the third Gragas game in a row for Jankos, and I think it might be worth for Origen stealing it away from him. Elise is not giving the early advantage that Origen needs from that pick. You really need to get ahead of the Gragas with that champion, and that's not to fault Amazing. That's Origen just how they've played as a whole, how these games have played out. But it might be worth at least looking at the possibility of stealing Gragas, because Jankos is playing fantastically well so far in this series.
Yeah, that is the case. Hitting every single one of those casks. Tower goes down. That's the 6th of the game. No towers left in that bottom lane except the inhib one. Inner turret top is still standing for Origen.
Even
ROCCAT
now,
just got absolute control.
Absolute control, and even Vander is just purely speccing into that defensive armor build. CDR from another Glacial Shrouded. First one turned into Zeke's Harbinger. Second one likely going into an additional Frozen Heart, since he's not always in the same area as Steve. So getting that aura completely spread out to the fight is worth it. Steve, yeah, he's sitting on a whole lot of armor right now. Just an efficient build for him. Peak bases, and he's building the makings of a random wins or another Warmux perhaps.
Steve says, I'm carrying this game so hard, guys. I need blue buff.
Yeah.
Accidentally picked that one up in the 43rd minute.
You know how that goes. You're playing to get the worlds.
Exactly.
Nobody's challenging your blue buff. You take it.
We'll forgive it. We'll forgive it. But that gold graph really tells a big story of this game. How ROCCAT got ahead early, and then the Baron play from Origen. That actually just evened it up. That didn't give Origen control. It evened up. Origen trying to be a bit cheeky here. They've got that banner-empowered minion. It may almost get the tower.
Unless Vander puts some shield, that tower is gone.
Got it.
Steve has as much armor as he has move speed right now. 399 with the Thornmail. So it'll take a while for Origen to shred through him, and they have to. If he plays frontline, he's the first target to hit. If he flanks, well, Origen's probably gone already. So it'll be hard teamfight to play right now. And the power of that late game, Maokai coming in.
The greatest of cooldowns, but Jankos did throw that explosive cask. He caught it onto Soaz. Dragon number 4. 1 away from Aspect.
ROCCAT do have a propensity for taking those 5 dragons. They do like their dragons. Even when they win convincingly early, they kind of like having that as a A backup plan?
Yeah. Always have a plan B. Don't only play plan B, would be some suggestions, but for ROCCAT, it's working. They one dragon away from Aspect. They've got Nip in the middle lane. I think it should be respawning in the not too distant future. That is for Origen. More importantly for ROCCAT, they have, again, more options to play with. They can wait for Baron, which is up in a minute. Force Origen's hand. Get that flank again. Flash and teleport once again available for Steve. This time, not the greatest vision, so that might be where Jankos and Vander are trying to set up.
And the next Baron will likely decide this game before 5th Dragon's even played. Could be crucial for any of these teams. We're hitting the late game where it becomes so difficult, so much different in terms of approach and just how these capture scales. Eventually, people run out of item slots. So at one point, it is beneficial to stall even if you have the inferior late game composition because, well, the other guys are maxed out anyways. Very interesting dynamic. That usually isn't at this mark. We still have some slots to fill. But once you hit like the 80, 90,000 gold, you have multiple carries, especially when you run a 2-carry composition where the gold is centered a lot on Nukeduck and MrRallez.
Or in this case, Niels, he's
Not
down.
Niels.
We didn't even see that one start. It was over that quickly. Jankos gets one, Nukeduck got the other with a minute cooldown before Origen have their full team complement. This could be all ROCCAT needs to take the lead in the best of 5. They're on to the mid lane inhibitor. They have minions pushing up behind them. Soaz has teleports available, but he's not coming back. Chain of Corruption will slowly spread to Nukeduck, but it won't be enough. Peck has used his flash already. Nexus turret number 1 is being focused. Amazing's doing the best he can to defend, but he will get squashed. It will be Nukeduck that squashes him. Vander gets a kill credit on the Nexus turret. They take down another one. 2 Nexus turrets down, and ROCCAT will go 2-1 in the European regional qualifiers.
What an anticlimactic ending. We were setting up for an explosive Baron fight and suddenly Niels caught out in the mid lane and immediately punished by ROCCAT. Yeah, we're in the late game. One mistake is all it takes for these teams to finish out. But the big story is that ROCCAT is now 2 wins, 1 loss in his best of 5 series. 1 win remains and they do, yeah, almost the unthinkable, beat Origen.
The winner of this series is the team that was touted to go to Worlds. Because both Giants and Unicorns of Love look significantly weaker in the playoffs. And this time around, ROCCAT is just showing up. They're showing multiple team compositions. They're showing a depth in their picks and bans. And then very importantly, look, it was 46 minutes. It was on the longer side. But, you know, ROCCAT, they had a lot of good decisions there. And Steve, again, showing up. He's gone back to an old faithful. He played carries yesterday against Giants. Back to Maokai. And just excellent flanks.
Big question mark is just how these both teams play around their jungler. Yeah. It is more than just the junglers themselves, but Gragas 3 games in a row and Jankos is continuously finding openings, had some fantastic explosive casts, one that maybe even think it was a Valkyrie. And he's just picking off people in these fights and just doing exactly what is required of him, and he's definitely playing fantastic and amazing. He's doing good things, he's at the right place at the right time, but sometimes these little synergies between Mithy and Amazing and the rest of his team just aren't quite there. They had multiple opportunities to kill somebody, but just Cocoon goes wide, different expectations, flays, hooks, and then suddenly somebody survives. Turn around, gets killed. That one fight in the mid lane where Steve managed to survive for absolute ages, got 2 extra kills. That could have been thwarted if that Cocoon connected. So it's these little things that are going wrong from Origen and ROCCAT. Late game, they're making the right decisions. They're still dropping the ball on some objectives, but definitive growth coming out of this ROCCAT squad. Yeah,
definitely the case. And for ROCCAT, now that's the first time a red team has won this series. They will once again bounce back to the blue side. They banned Gangplank on red side as their last ban. Yeah. Now the onus to ban Gangplank lies on the side of Origen. So we'll need to see who's going to be making their adjustments in picks and bans. Origen are on the ropes. They will have to come up big if they want to keep their shot at Worlds 2015 alive. We'll be back with a look at Game 4 in just a few minutes. We're into Game 3, one step closer to the 2015 World Championships. But here's Steve. Well, he's teleported into the river. He's caught Mithy. Nukeduck's got the kill. Gravity Field holds Niels in place as the Chaos Storm takes him out. One more house goes out. Mithy's low. Actually killed by Steve. We're still not... Steve! Save Steve!
Corki, 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 Corki!
Go Varus.
Varus, Varus, Varus.
I have engaged Venom to chase.
Go Varus, 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 Varus. Nash.
Yes.
Get the blue. Beautiful.
And ROCCAT will go 2-1 in the European Regional Qualifiers.